Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from DeltiasGaming.com with my first Mass Effect Andromeda multiplayer build. This is for the Turian Havoc class, which is similar to any soldier archetype and feels much stronger in this game than it did in Mass Effect 3. Whether you have the class or not, stay tuned as I give multiplayer tips away and how you can easily farm gold level missions with this damage powerhouse, the Turian Terror. Gang, let's talk about the Turian Havoc and what makes it so special. So just like Elder Scrolls Online videos, I'm going to kind of go through everything. Skills, gear, consumables, everything you need to know about this class. So first thing you're going to need to know when you're selecting a class, depending on what you want to do, is AoE. If you're going to want to do gold level missions, you need a lot of area damage or some type of utility that you bring to the team. So in previous builds, you have a tank healer, 2 DPS, and you can actually have that same setup in here. But what this thing does is AoE, massive area damage. So Flak Cannon is our first ability, and that is basically using power cells. So previously like grenades in the other game. Turbocharger, this was marksman in the previous game. It just pumps up your weapon, your damage or stability, and it just refills your ammo clip immediately. Incredible skill. We have Incinerate. I made this AoE as well. It's a tech skill, so it can blow up and use combos. It's very, very effective. What is not effective about this class is that you don't have a whole lot of shields, nor do you have a whole lot of defenses unless you spec into it. So I've completed gold plenty of times, and I spec into the high damage mode. So with that, let's go customize this guy and show you what I did. Now, I don't know the optimal math behind getting that 1 point. You can do it a 4 and a 4 here, but this is what I used, and it worked for me. The unique thing about this class is the aerial assault. Now, the thing about aerial assault is you can do this, and you can have this, big damage, accuracy, damage resistance, and so forth. But when you're doing gold level missions, when you jump in the air like that, you're going to get nuked down, unless you're like doing it within a couple seconds. So it didn't make sense to me to completely build around this. Also, you can do melee as well. The problem with melee is it's basically single target. Lets you jump up in the air, smack it down. So you want AoE, massive area damage. That's what's going to kill a lot of mobs, and that's what's going to give you them high scores. Munitions training here. So I like this. Now, we're going through the spec here. Weapons training, power augments, weapon and power. Now you get your first choice. So power damage, +1 power cell capabilities. Power cell, that just means 1 more grenade. So if you want your grenades to be the centerpiece of your build, you would take this. For me, I go straight with weapon damage because I got the Reverend, and I'm going to show you that a little bit. But I want high weapon damage. So this spec here, the rank 5, doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to be using melee. I'm going to be using my weapon at range, hypothetically. So more weapon ammo, clip size, reload speed. Perfect for our build. Now you have a really tough choice here. Basically sustained fire. I don't know if this stacks with other people using this ability, so it's something that's really hard to test in this game. But if you didn't have someone in a coordinated group using this, you'd want this. The debuff would be really, really nice taking on them big, nasty enemies. I took this choice because it gives me a lot of damage for headshots, weak point. So if I'm aiming for the right thing, I'm getting a lot of damage. Another reason it's so good is the accuracy and stability. When I hit marksman, my range and my shot group is so tight that I can just hit stuff really, really far away, even with holding down an assault rifle. I don't use shotguns, I use assault rifles, so the pellet spread isn't that big of a factor to me. Flak Cannon, this thing is beast. This is our power cell ability, as you can see. It shoots, and the thing you need to know about this is it blows up, and then it goes boom. And then it has some, what they call, so the boom, 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 boom is basically shrapnel. So when you hit this, it's going to have a couple seconds where it's going to apply some damage over time effects. So when you're using this ability, you don't want to necessarily spam it over and over. You're going to want to wait for that shrapnel damage to accumulate, then hit it again. Though you can spam it for the initial damage. So you see the initial damage isn't that high, but the shrapnel damage is nice. And the damage for the shrapnel really takes down armor targets. This is going to be great on gold level where there's tons of heavily armored targets that we need to rip down. Or if you're facing outlaws and you're going up against endless Krogans, this is what you're going to use for that. So the first spec we're going to take, power cells. Don't take the power cells. It's really easy to get ammo and multiplayer. So the more ammo doesn't make sense when I'm giving up 35% area damage and area force. I would not give it up just for 2 extra little cells. we're going to spec anti-armor. We really want this to do well against anti-armor. Now, I didn't go into these, so 50% more shrapnel damage, and then more damage over time. The reason I didn't is because I think the other things I can use more frequently, and plus the damage over time, I want more instant damage, and I have another damage over time effect that's really useful, and then also for more shrapnel explosion, that's really good, but I didn't choose that in comparison to Turbocharge, the centerpiece of this build. So what happens is your weapon becomes more efficient. When you click this thing, number one, it refills all your ammo and allows you to fire faster. So that's what makes it so very, very good with our reverent weapon, assault rifle that we have. Is it's basically, you're going to be shooting, boom, you click this, your clip fills, and you go back to town. So the first one here is time, so duration 8 seconds, recharge is 20-second cooldown, and the rate of fire is what makes it spectacular. So duration isn't that important to me. What I like is that it's up more frequently, because I'm not going to be sitting there for 10 seconds just holding down my trigger. I want to be able to use it, nuke down a couple targets, have it refresh right away. So I took recharge. Accuracy and stability, I already have that in the other munitions training, so I don't need more of that. What I need is more damage, and then 15% more damage and force. If you're using shotguns, this will knock people down, and if you're using assault rifles, it just mows things down. Then last choice here is clip size. I have a huge clip size with a weapon of choice, so that's not necessary. Rate of fire, going through those rounds really fast, especially if you're using incendiary ammo, cryo ammo, something else that pumps up your damage. It's incredible. Last ability up is Incinerate, and what I think is one of the most powerful, and it's a primer for combos. So if you're playing with another tech class, biotic, you're going to be setting these off big time. So it's damage over time, and armor damage 50%. So you're seeing a trend with these builds, right? High armor damage, high AoE. That's what's going to have you successful damage-wise against the harder mobs. Now, the last thing you can hit is a trigger combo, but there's going to be plenty of other people triggering your combos, so I didn't take that. First ability up, AoE. Projectile enemy effect in 2-meter radius now, so you can see that radius is a lot bigger, so we're going to hit more things. So when they're clumped up in the middle of thing, this Flak grenade and Incinerate, stuff will die. This is a really tough choice, impact or anti-armor. So to me, it makes more sense to kind of just have 30% initial damage on every single thing, because some of the waves, like Remnant, you're going to be facing a lot of barriers and a lot of health on Outlaw. So having initial damage of 30% seems really, really good. But this is also a really good choice. But I just like the extra damage that applies on every target. That's why I took Impact. Double Incinerate right here. I don't need this as a detonator. What I need this is as more targets. So launching 2 now, it's going to burn them, it's going to debuff, it's going to hit that armor really hard, and it's going to have a huge radius. It's just massive AoE. Not to mention, you look at the recharge time. This thing is up all the time, and it acts like a stun on mobs like that. You see, they're kind of disoriented for a while. So if you're going to focus this build on your skills, what would you focus on first? Realistically, Incinerate is my bread and butter because it's prime for combos, it does AoE, and it stuns mobs. Secondarily, I like Turbocharger just because it makes your weapons insane, and then I go with Flak Cannon. I go down here to Aerial Assault, and you see that I didn't take anything else. So this is something you might want to take if you're really having trouble with max shields, but I just kill stuff so fast, it's not even a problem. So moving on to character customization. Now, I see a lot of people running 2 weapons, and I don't really think it's necessary. So I have the Revenant weapon. You see that's already ranked 9. Basically, I was getting packs, and I would just keep getting the Turian, and I would keep getting this weapon. So it's like, okay, that's a hint to use it. So I don't think it's necessary to use a secondary weapon with this, and it doesn't really benefit me. I'm going to use this. It works the most effectively. Plus, it makes my power recharge speed 100% better. So I'm going to be using a lot more Incinerates. That's why it's useful to me to run this setup. On our weapon specifically, I think this is one of the strongest weapons in the game that I've played so far because of its rate of fire and max clip size. So if you see it has 75 max clip size, tons of ammo, and the rate of fire is spectacular. So when we pump up the rate of fire, that multiplier when we're using Marksman or now Turbocharger, you're mowing through targets in damage. Plus, it's just up so frequently that it's just really, really easy gameplay. When you're taking down those big, huge mobs and they're armored, and if someone else has the attention, you pop a Marksman, throw an Incinerate, one Flak, boom, and you hold down the trigger. Almost anything will die within a few seconds. And it's because of that rate of fire. Plus you have a max clip sight, and the max ammo is perfect because we don't have to run a second weapon because of this. So I've tried a bunch of other stuff, but you can see this thing is the bread and butter. Mods, I went with the barrel. So more damage makes sense, and then more penetration as well. So the max magazine, don't need that. I got tons of ammo. Stability, I got tons of stability, and I don't really need more accuracy, so it's a perfect setup for me. Now if we go back, what is this Juggernaut shield? Basically, with your mission funds, there is something that you can buy for 120. This thing is your #1 priority to get because it's basically just a permanent benefit to you. It doesn't go away. So with your mission funds, make sure that you buy this thing right away. So if we go to store, and then we go to right here, you can get a thermal clip for 70. You can buy these sorts of things, but I already bought that Juggernaut shield. But get that thing. It's a huge benefit to you, and it lasts forever. So it's a #1 priority with your mission funds, in my opinion. Consumables that you're going to want to use. Now, consumables, when I'm playing bronze and silver, I don't really use them unless my character is really, really low. What I like to do is if I'm going to use ammo, I want to pair my ammo with what mobs I'm fighting, right? So shotgun, stun enemies, great. Deals large bonus damage to shields. This is great going up against Reverent, right? Incendiary ammo. Armor, great going up against outlaws. So, additional weapon damage increased by 10%. So this is bonus damage to armor, but it just affects everything. So really good against Ket. So that's what I put my armor on, depending my ammo, depending on what I'm going against. And if it's gold, I'll use an ammo thing. Weapons, if you use something like this, the assault rifle amplification, I mean, you're just going to nuke stuff. But until you get this guy level to 20, I would really just use like a progression, a level up XP enhancer to get him to 20, get all your max skills, and then it becomes really, really useful. So power is not going to be that useful since we're not dependent on it. Defenses is pretty useful. If you have a big, huge shield, that can be very, very helpful. Also offense, ammo capacity, not a concern. We're not doing melee a whole lot, though targeting can help, but we already have a whole lot of damage. So what I would suggest to you on this build is running ammo specifically, and then a weapon enhancer. That's just going to enhance your damage, and you will be lighting stuff up. And last thing that you're going to want to do is, I've been playing multiplayer for a while now. I don't see people using these things. So Cobra RPGs, ammo packs, revive packs. Now, that's what they're there for, right? So I go through a lot of ammo packs just to refill my ammo and grenades or power cells right away. But Cobra RPGs, this is a game changer. If you're doing an extraction on gold and there's a billion mobs by you, boom, you shoot one of these and a buddy shoots an AoE target, everything dies and you can get an extraction. So first aid packs, right? So instantly healing yourself. Revive pack, you're down, everyone else is on the clear side of the map. You gotta use these suckers. That's what they're there for. Well, gang, that is the build. I will be showing you more on this build and how to play it in a specific separate video with my friend Outcast, and I are doing some multiplayer gameplay, a couple clips. So if you want to see how this operates on gold and little Turian soldier action, how they compare, stay tuned. Tons and tons of more Mass Effect content, and also if you're an ESO fan, still going to be doing that. So let me know what you think of this build, if you like it, and which other classes would you like me to focus on. It seems like biotics are pretty weak in comparison, unless you have the Asari Adept or the Krogan. So let me know, what do you want to see, why is it important to you, and we'll see if we can make it work. Thanks for watching.